An idea to tear down one of the deadliest mass shooting sites in modern U.S. history is now off the table after getting mixed reaction. Columbine High School officials thought demolishing and rebuilding would stop unwanted visitors. Just this year, 2,400 unauthorized people were on campus, some who had a dark interest in the school's past. The plan to rebuild has been dropped because the community said it was an unnecessary tax burden. So, DBL Nation, do you think sites of mass shootings should be demolished?
All right, Sam, let's get right to it. Tom from YouTube says no, tearing down the buildings won't erase history. Tom, to your point, I mean, obviously there was a shooting at Kent State many years ago where 4 student protesters were shot and killed by, I believe, the National Guard. And last I checked, Kent State is still there, golden flashes. So, I mean, I can see to your point. Keep it going, and eventually time heals all wounds.
Carl from YouTube says, I just don't think it's feasible to demolish every single place that had a mass shooting. There are just too many. Carl, you bring up a great point. I consider them very sad point, but very relevant. Each of these to me are a bit like a ground zero, and I think demolishing it, for some people, it's because remains were there. That's the last time that person was there, and you sort of don't want to desecrate that. So to me, this is a closed meeting between survivors and their families. They decide. I have no say in this game. That is up to them.
Carrie from Facebook says 100% it removes the constant reminder of such awful tragedies. I think they handled this right. It is up to the community and their tax money and where it goes. Sadly, I do feel for the families about that, but it's ultimately about money and can the community afford that. I don't even know if I should say this, but I think it might be a motivator for a future school shooter to totally put that burden on that community. Wow. You know, so I don't think that, I think that might be a motivator for some future guy just to cause havoc.
Yeah, it's become a very big mecca for those people. You're absolutely right.
Very scary. Bill from YouTube says, I definitely think tearing down the building should at least be considered out of respect for the victims' families. Without regurgitating what Tori just said, I think it should be up to the victims' families.
All right. Courtney from Facebook says, I'm on the fence. I think it all depends on, in Columbine's case, it makes sense because the constant visitors are distracting. Courtney, I have to agree, and we just kind of brought this up, and it didn't hit me until we brought it up that maybe 6 months ago there was a young woman in Florida that was fixated on this case and got on a flight to go to Columbine. So I think
every Denver public school had to be closed.
And we're terrified.
Yeah.
And then re-traumatized as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Parents, some of the parents here had that. Jenna from Facebook says, yes, the buildings just bring on too much trauma for those who had to go through it. Again, some people see it as memorial, though, and some people see it as trauma. So, again, this has to be handled case by case, up to the families and survivors to be very sensitive, I think, about this.
Agreed.